Welcome back to season 2 of the Common Dad podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Like I said, we are back. This is season 2. Man, it's been, I don't know, guys, 6 months, 7, 8?
Too long. Who's counting?
Slightly longer break than anticipated, but that's okay. It gave all of our loyal listeners a chance to catch up, right? It's exactly what happened.
That's the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal. But no, this is exciting. We're finally on season 2. Got a lot of good stuff. A lot of, we're on YouTube now, which is cool. So if you followed us on Instagram and you followed us on Facebook, you can now follow us on YouTube. And if you haven't followed us on Instagram, haven't followed us on Facebook, you can continue to not follow us on YouTube now. So you can keep that trend going.
More options to not follow.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of things I'd like to say about you, but I can't because this will go out as content on the internet and that lasts forever. So we won't say those things. Man, what else?
You know what we're thinking, though.
Well, yeah, they're all horrible things. And again, YouTube now, so there's going to be a lot more content. We've got a lot of announcements that I'm not allowed to say anymore because my boss says so. But we got a lot of exciting stuff.
Boss.
We have and we have a boss now. Well, we have a
boss.
We had a boss. Now she's like here listening to us, smacking our hands when we say dumb things. So the podcast will be naturally way better. Just
if you're wondering, yes, there's a woman in charge of the Dad podcast.
Well, of course. And it is.
We couldn't organize properly.
No, there's not a chance. No way. So yeah, we've got YouTube now. Go follow us there, and it's the Common Dad podcast. There's some bum called the Common Dad. Don't follow that guy. He's a bag.
Dislike his videos.
Actually,
give him a
follow
thumbs down.
us. That's right. Yeah, follow us and then trash him. No, I'm just kidding. He's probably a great guy. I don't know. I don't care. Hey, if you're listening, Common Dad, just follow us or give us your page so we don't have to. Never mind. Anyway, also, we're launching this on Father's Day, so happy Father's Day, everybody. This is our gift to you. This is what we wanted to do, was launch season 2 because we know that's what you've been waiting for.
You're welcome.
So before we get started into our, I'm just going to call it a gift because that's what we are to the world. What did we miss? Any big things? Ryan, you bought a house during the break, right?
Bought a house.
Wow, was it
Get
that
to do
long
more
ago we
dad
stopped?
stuff.
Let me score that with this. There we go.
There you
Congratulations.
That's a good one.
Nice.
I'll open one for that.
It's a good crack.
Bought a new house in a great market. We're currently trying to buy a house right now, and I want to die.
I think you waited too long.
Just maybe. We're finally ready to buy a house, and it's the worst market literally in the history of markets. So that's
It's a cardboard box down the street going for $100,000.
That's good. Did I procreate on the break? When was my third child's birthday? He's about 6 months old. It's close.
You should
It's
know
close.
the answer to this.
I should know. Somebody asked me his birthday the other day, and I was like, he's not one. It's not one. I can tell you that. We're getting there because I know he was born when it was
Still
hot
little.
outside. Yeah, little.
Doesn't talk yet.
Yeah, if he can't talk, it doesn't. I don't need to learn it until he can understand it anyway. Elijah, my oldest, graduated from preschool today, so that was
Saw that.
exciting.
Wow.
Big congrats.
Yeah, I was pumped.
Participation trophies, I hope.
All around participation. But you know what? For the amount of money we paid, I won a participation. I earned it. Little laminated piece of crap that he got. Hey, here we go. It was like $5,000. Whatever.
You can color outside the lines.
I digress.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're working on it. It's a summer thing. Yeah, they sent home a pail. Here's things to work on during the summer. What was I paying you? Never mind. That's another podcast, literally on the schedule. So anyway, before we get going into our we love brackets. So of course we're gonna open with another bracket. Our gift, like I said, that's what we are to you, is if you feel, and this is Sarah's already. This isn't great. If you feel like you maybe struggle as a dad sometimes, well, we have the podcast for you today because last year on Father's Day, we did the best dads. And I understand that may have felt or may have made some of you feel slightly inefficient.
Those were hard to live up to.
Those were tough. Yeah, I mean, we had some great dads in there. Great. Who was the winner of?
Wasn't it Phil Banks?
Yeah, Phil Banks. Can't really live up to him. R.I.P. So this year, to make everybody feel better, if you think you're a bag of trash, wait till you see what we've got. We've got the worst dads. We got 16 absolutely dumpster
Nothing will
fires.
make you feel better than tearing somebody else down who's worse than you.
Absolutely. Everything they taught you in school, wrong. So yeah, we're going to break down. We've got 16 terrible dads that we're going to go through, and we're going to see who the worst is. And more than likely, if you're listening to this, you're probably not worse than these guys. If you are, you're probably in prison. So I don't know what to tell you. But you're getting better.
If you think you're worse, give us a call or leave us a comment.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
We'd love to have you on the podcast.
Make your case.
You said comment. I'm glad you said comment before we get started. Same rule applies as last season. If you leave a 5-star comment, we will read it. Most likely, unless it's crazy bad stuff. But even if you hate us and you can just write about how much we suck, we'll read it. I don't care.
We'll read it. We just may not read it on air.
That's true. That's true. But anyway, yeah, go leave us some 5-star reviews anywhere. I don't care. Google, or probably not even on Google, but you can leave one. That's fine. But on Apple Podcasts, definitely leave a 5-star review there. We will read it for sure. So, anybody else have anything to add before we get started into this bracket of trash can dads? No? Ryan, would you do the honors of the first matchup?
Let's rock and roll. First matchup.
Wait. Honorable mentions. Forgot. Honorable mentions. I have a couple.
Dishonorable?
Dishonorable. I have a couple.
So these would essentially be 17 on, correct?
If you follow college basketball, these would be your first 4 out, if you will.
Just miss the bubble.
On the bubble. And really some of them are out just because nobody really knows who they are. But one of mine is Homelander. If you watch the show The Boys, he's a superhero dad who's pure evil, and he killed his... doesn't matter. Homelander. And then right before the podcast, Cousin Eddie, I think was an honorable mention. Just missed it. Who else missed it, guys? Who else were we talking about? I think
we had a few. Darth Vader was eliminated. Did not make top 16.
He can't be on the worst dad list if he was on the best dad.
That's right.
Why not?
That's true. Well,
why not?
Because he was one of the 16 best dads. I think that's how that works.
That's another podcast too. We had Lou Smith, which is the opposite of Uncle Phil, but I think we decided he only had 1 episode of being terrible, so we left him off. And if you think of any other ones, by all means, scream at us.
Let us know how wrong we are.
Yeah, scream at us via
Ted Mosby for taking 8 years to explain a story about how he met his wife.
Yeah,
to his kids.
Yeah, that should have been a. What do they say? That's a meeting.
Much shorter story.
Meeting that could have been an email. Yeah, that didn't need to be that.
A few others. The dad and Elf, although we determined he eventually came around.
But anyway, yeah.
The Reverend from Footloose for us oldies.
I've never seen Footloose from start to finish.
No.
Yeah. Maybe
the original?
Maybe
or the.
Is there another one?
Never saw.
The Return of Kevin Bacon? We're getting sidetracked already. This has gone south so quickly. But that's okay. We're gonna talk about Kevin Bacon all day long. I love that guy.
6 Degrees.
That's a good show. But yeah, if you have any, hey, you guys missed this, scream at us via a 5-star review. All right, Ryan, back to where we were. First matchup.
Our Northwest bracket. Matchup number 1.
I forgot to name them. Good job.
Northwest bracket matchup number 1 is Harry Wormwood from Matilda versus Vernon Dursley, Harry Potter.
Okay, so let me give a little intro here. Yep, Harry Wormwood, Matilda, 1 son, 1 daughter, firmly against reading, and is a shyster, used car salesman. And Vernon Dursley, Harry Potter, 1 son, keeps his nephew under his stairs, and is pro-child slave labor.
Is he pro-child slave labor? I mean, he never makes his son do that.
Yeah.
Harry,
Nonsense
he
of
makes
purposes. He sets
making
up
other
everything.
kids do child slave labor isn't the same as making your own son do it.
but it's
So
still
is that a dad-related fact?
Yeah,
It is pro-child labor. His point is not wrong. But
it's just
as
a
far as
fun
being
fact.
a bad dad, one could make the case that he takes care of his son above all others.
Above all,
Thus
He
making him a
puts his
piece of
son
crap.
absolutely first.
But that's not good parenting.
Well, you can see the
but
results
he's not
clearly.
Harry's dad.
I mean, if we had a discussion about some of the worst characters in movie history, that little turd is on the list. No?
Oh, but there's far worse characters.
There's-
in
I'm
Harry
saying
Potter.
there's-
We can't, I mean, if
there's
we're,
worse,
if we're
but
talking
he's making
worst
the list.
characters and
I-
worst dads.
so,
Yeah.
I'm
Dursley's
gonna
not
jump
on
in
the
here. I'm
list.
gonna offer a way to kind of try to compare apples to apples here.
Okay.
If you're looking at the individual, I would argue Harry Wormwood as a shyster, as a used car salesman, as an example to his children.
Oh, he's horrible.
I believe it was rubber cement. It wasn't even like super glue. Rubber cement for a bumper to put on a car that he ends up selling for 3 times the price.
I gotta go back and watch that movie. That's incredible.
However, to your
And
point,
also-
Justin, if you're comparing the results
Mm-hmm.
in Vernon Dursley's actual son versus Harry Wormwood's son that he favors over Matilda, I would say Vernon Dursley's son is far worse of an individual and treats Harry far worse than Matilda's brother treats her.
And I'll plead ignorance on Harry Wormwood. I think I've seen Matilda one time when I was a little kid. So I don't know. I'm going to leave this from what they kind of look the same, don't they? Kind of fat and sweaty, both of them.
They are
Always
They are.
yelling,
Yeah.
right?
Fat, sweaty,
Dursley's
lazy,
pretty
tries to get
tall,
other
I
people to
think,
do their
though.
stuff for him.
Why do fat, sweaty people always have like sport jackets on? Like, you're sweating. Take it anyway. I'll leave this one up to you guys because I don't know. I know
Well,
Vernon
you
Dursley's.
got to cast a vote. So do you want to be the deciding vote?
I'll-
or
You
do
may be
wanna-
the
do you wanna
tiebreaker.
Cast now?
Drew, who's your vote?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Wormwood's the worst.
Okay.
I agree.
As a dad, I mean, the result, you could argue, there's a whole other podcast that you could have on is the resulting child a function of the parenting or a function of the child?
In
Does
fairness,
the child have a
Matilda's
say
magic, isn't
in
she?
his own, or the child's own, ambition in life? So I don't know that the result is exactly correlating to the dad. So
Okay.
I go Wormwood as
Understood.
the worst.
Ryan?
Well, I agree. I think it's Wormwood,
Then,
and I don't think it's as close as
as the
the
experts
public may
thinks.
think.
Okay. All right. Then, Vernon the turd is out.
I doubt there's been many public discussions on who's a worse dad, Wormwood or Dursley.
I don't think so. But
There's
Maybe
probably
not.
not a lot
that's the kind of content
podcasts
you get
on
here.
that.
That's what you get.
Unique,
Deep cuts.
never before
Deep.
seen.
Deep, meaty
of
cuts.
original.
Our
All right.
second matchup in our Northwest bracket
Of course.
is Robin Charles Scherbatsky Sr.
Mm.
versus Peter Griffin. This is How I Met Your Mother versus Family Guy.
Okay. Let me introduce for the people that may not know. Robin's father. What was his name? I don't even know.
Robin Charles Scherbatsky
Okay.
Sr.
How I Met
named- Well, I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, so How I Met Your Mother was a show. Fun facts: left his child in the wilderness, and wished his daughter was a son. And Peter Griffin probably doesn't need an introduction, but anyway, Family Guy, 2 sons, $1, one daughter, puts up with Meg every single day, and once blew up a hospital. Discuss. For me, it's a lamb to slaughter. It's not even close.
Yeah, it's kind of easy choice on that one.
I think the matchup here, Robin Charles Scherbatsky Sr. drew a bad draw here.
Yeah,
because
matchup's not
I
great.
think Mr. Scherbatsky could have gone to round 2 or 3 in a different matchup, but I think just going up against a heavyweight, both
Yeah.
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Griffin. I don't know what else we need to say, but he's so great, but so horrible at the same time. It's almost like magic.
But just to Meg.
But just to Meg, and that's really all.
Just to Meg.
Yeah. Well, he does other things that aren't good fatherly things, but
Probably, yeah,
blowing up hospitals. I think he did crack at one point. But anyway, Peter Griffin advances. Ryan, next matchup.
In our Southwest division,
Okay.
Southwest, we've got
So like
Thanos.
New Mexico.
Thanos versus Ego, both from the Marvel Universe here.
Of course. We almost could have done a Marvel, what you call it? Not almost. We could have done a Marvel, what do you call it? Region. That's the word I'm looking for. Region. Okay, Thanos from the Avengers saga, 2 daughters, killed half the universe and threw his daughter off of a cliff and killed her. Ego, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, 1 son, killed his wife, tried to kill his son, and has a great beard. What was the actor who played Ego?
Kurt Russell.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great beard. He's always had that too. Absolutely incredible.
He's not always had the beard. Come on.
It feels like
this is he was the original Overboard with Goldie Hawn, the carpenter that she got amnesia, and oh my goodness,
you're so old. I don't even know.
Come on.
I don't know what happened.
It's a good movie.
I heard a typewriter when you started talking.
You need to back me up on this here.
Nothing.
Kurt Russell didn't have a beard in that one.
The
Maybe
people
Scruff,
that you just
5
spoke
o'clock
to
shadow.
don't know what the internet is, so that's not gonna work.
But they're all dads. Come on.
I thought you were gonna say dead. Oh God, close. Any minute now. All right, Drew, kick us off. Thanos and Ego. What do you got there?
Yeah, I think I mean, you want it to be close, but I think Thanos kind of takes that when he, I don't know, half the population of the entire universe. It was the universe, right? Like, not even just the planet, the universe,
full universe,
half of the universe.
Yeah, and before he got the
snap of the finger,
and before he got the Infinity Stones, he was doing it manually.
and in an effort to do so. But in an effort to do so, he kills his own daughter. I mean, like,
it's a rough look. There's no doubt.
I think Ego's not great. Certainly not a great dad. Not on the top 16.
Yeah,
but he didn't actually follow through with killing half of the universe.
Not by lack of effort.
Well, yeah. So I'm going to take a slightly different stance, Justin. I'm sorry.
You're
I'm
wrong.
to jump in and cut you off.
No, by all means.
Thanos. There's a couple of important points here that I'd throw in here. Thanos didn't actually sacrifice his daughter. That's not technically his offspring. You can call it an adopted daughter, forced adoption, whatever you want to call it.
Adopt her.
But even to that end,
forced adoption, killed her family. You're mine now. Yeah, it's about as forceful as it gets. Probably
coming up with a term here, but on top of that, the only way to get the Soul Stone is to genuinely make a sacrifice. Were it not, and literally, you think about the person. He may be a evil person. He may be a bad guy because of killing half the universe. But the only person he was upset about killing in his entire rampage and all the people that he killed, and it's proof legitimately. And I could argue the same for Ego was doing it because
so if I lovingly kill my kids, it makes me a good dad?
Ego tried to kill him every bit as much. He just didn't succeed.
Yeah.
But Ego tried to kill him not for the benefit of the universe and not because he cared or loved. I just blanked.
No, I see. I understand.
So Ego, I just. Yeah.
Now you've put me in an uncomfortable position.
Oh, you get to decide.
Yeah, because
because Gamora failed at defending herself. I mean, Peter Quill was better at defending himself. Quill, that's what I forgot his name.
For reference, Ryan wanted to include Mr. Wayne, father of Batman, for getting murdered. He was mad at him for getting murdered.
He's a bad dad. Why would you walk down that alley
in front of his son and cause
lead your family down a dark alley in a bad neighborhood?
Of trauma.
Yeah. What a piece of crap.
Bruce,
I had the nerve to
never got psychological help.
Well, that's on him. Movie wouldn't be any good if he was just in therapy. Boy.
Well, as a kid, he's not going to go. Yeah.
Didn't Ego give his wife cancer and kill her? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know that he was even married to her. That's how.
I just know that was the Yeah, I
And
think
he
they
went
were.
around.
Man.
Didn't he go around to multiple planets and do this on multiple planets?
Yeah, he like planted his weird little seed everywhere and tried to take. It was
Right.
it was weird and gross. Yeah, it was.
I
Nothing
just
like
think,
planting seeds
how many
on
abandoned
multiple
children did he
planets.
leave? How many abandoned children are out there? How many abandoned
the
families?
the comic people in the comments can probably help us there because I'm sure there's a lot deeper. I'm gonna go. The ultimate thing here is Thanos. One guy killed half the universe, the other one didn't.
That has nothing to do with being.
It has a
bad.
lot to do with it.
He's a bad guy.
I'm gonna go with
It's a bad
Thanos.
example.
It's a close one. It's a buzzer beater. I'm going with Thanos over Ego. The
Bad
beard.
example. Yeah, both of his daughters were on the other side, so the example wasn't followed.
That's
Telling
true.
you, man, I could go all day.
I'm going
All right.
Thanos. I'm going Thanos.
Only at the very end.
All right, Thanos advances. What's our next matchup?
Second matchup in the Southwestern Conference is Magneto versus Dr. Evil.
I want to
this
see
is
these guys
X-Men
fight for real.
Versus Austin Powers.
That's right. All right, Magneto, one son, one daughter, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver. I almost said Flash Drive. That's a cool name. Attempts to destroy the human race in every version of himself, and his weakness is plastic. Dr. Evil in all the Austin Powers movies has 3 sons if you count Mini-Me, which of course we do. Only wants $1 million or he will blow up the world in which he lives, and rides in phallic-shaped rocket ships. That is Dr. Evil. Oh, man. I feel like Magneto tries to be a good father.
Of course, well,
Says
he
a tip.
tries to end the human race specifically to help those with the X gene because he knows that the humans won't be okay with mutants. They'll never be accepted.
Right.
So he's trying to make a better future for his kids.
He plays a father figure to all those mutants that share the same view.
He does.
Mm-hmm. This is Dr. Evil all day. Dr. Evil's just a bad guy.
I think it's Dr. Evil.
He's a bad guy, a bad dad, about everything. It's just Magneto tries.
His first son was Austin Powers. Yeah, he does try. He fails, but he does try. Yeah, Austin Powers' first son was Austin Powers. Second son was adopted son Scott, who he just screams at for the first 2 movies. And then Mini-Me, of course, he had to create a son who he loves Mini-Me dearly. That almost saves him.
Mini-Me completes him.
Literally completes him. Yeah, I think that's kind of sad, but yeah, I think it's Dr. Evil, but in a runaway here, correct? Agreed?
I think that's unanimous.
Do you concur?
Yeah.
All right, we concur. All right, Dr. Evil moves on.
I concur, Doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor.
All right, Ryan, next matchup.
Fletch would have made a great dad. Speaking of Fletch, first round in our Northeast bracket is Fletcher Reed from Liar Liar against Waynezielinski. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Right here is
Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, and Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Right here's the problem between smart and stupid, right? Fletcher Reed, kind of a piece of garbage through and through. And what is his kid makes a wish, right? That he can't lie for one day. That's
his
the whole
birthday wish.
It's the whole point of the movie. He's a slimy lawyer, can't stop lying. Misses baseball games and stuff, right? Like just does all the horrible things.
All kinds of stuff. Tries to get out parking tickets. He has a glove box full of them. I
forgot my intros, guys. You can't believe you limit. Fletcher Reed, Liar Liar, one son hijacked an airplane and wrecks his life by telling the truth. Waynezielinski. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, 2 sons, 1 daughter. Blew up the infant. I should rephrase that. He didn't blow up an infant. He made the infant like
a large size.
A larger size. He didn't explode a child. And he's a smart idiot, which is the worst kind of idiot and the worst kind of smart. I don't know. What do you guys think here? Actually, I think I do know.
I think it's a stretch again, but I think it's an easy. I think you want it to be closer than it actually is. It's Fletcher Reed. Yeah. Just because you fall short doesn't make you a bad dad. Dads make mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
The intention was never to blow up the kids or be a bad dad.
He did do it twice.
I think Zielinski's always trying to be a good dad.
Yeah.
Fletcher Reed is just a bad dad. Like
Yeah.
he's deliberately and purposefully, consciously trying to manipulate and get out of things. He's a bad guy.
Doesn't he say it in the movie? I'm a bad father, right? Isn't that the line in the courtroom? Yeah.
There's the argument here is bad intentionally. Is it worse to be bad intentionally, or is it worse to be bad unintentionally, and you don't even realize how bad you are? Because it's not. Waynezielinski's argument isn't that he doesn't try. He tries. It's that he's failed enough to make 3 movies.
That's right.
And repeatedly.
How about we move on from the science, Dad? You keep almost killing everybody. Maybe, let's get a job at Enterprise Rental Car or something.
In the first movie, if my memory, which, this was a long time ago, these movies were made, but I believe he was going through a divorce too, because his invention didn't work at the convention.
And she left
Wifey
him.
Doesn't like him, and
well, I'd leave him too.
There's all kinds of issues.
Freaking loser.
Going on there. So that's his case. Now, that being said, I would side on if you are intentionally trying to be a bad dad and not even putting forth the effort is the easiest thing to do in the world. If you're not even putting forth the effort so much so that your life comes crumbling down simply by telling the truth, how much was your life propped up on lies?
Yeah. Agreed.
I think I'm going to say Fletcher also.
Fletcher Reed. Agreed. All right, Fletcher Reed advances. Who is our next matchup?
Second matchup, Northeast bracket. We have Jack Burns versus Peter McAllister.
All right, Jack Burns from Meet the Parents, played by De Niro, Robert De Niro. Of course, 2 daughters, invites his daughter's ex-boyfriend to the wedding and drugs his son-in-law. Peter McAllister from Home Alone. 3 sons, 2 daughters. Get off of her. Forgets his own children twice at the airport. Well, at home, whatever. It's 2 movies. And named his firstborn son Buzz, which is enough right there. What is Buzz short for? It's got to be short for something, right?
Buzzard.
There's not people walking around. I'm Buzz. No, you're not. But anyway, somebody tell us, Buzz in the chat. Let us know what your real name is and how you feel about it. Ryan, what do you think here?
Again, this is similar to the last round in that intentional versus unintentional. Now, Peter McAllister, I do think there's a level of neglect.
No.
That's pretty apparent here. But Jack goes downright. He literally tries to ruin his daughter's relationship and who his daughter loves.
Well, but he's doing that because he's
doing it for the benefit of his daughter, right? So I think there's cases to be made on both sides here. This one may be closer than I originally thought.
Yeah, I just can't get. So what happened?
Forgetting your kids versus caring so much about your kids that you overparent.
But that
one's kind of an overparenter or overparenting and underparenting.
That helicopter parent forcing the relationships that you want for your child. I mean, it's terrible parenting. She could wind up with therapy. Oh, I never wanted to end up with this person. My dad forced me.
She could
manipulated me.
She could wind up with therapy, but also if Kevin
who knows, maybe it would have been better.
If Kevin meets the wrong homeless person who talks to birds, we could be talking about way worse than therapy here. Just saying. Could be way worse.
Well, if he weren't so good at engineering booby traps.
Right.
Who knew he was born to be an engineer?
I mean, he would have died how many times in between all those movies?
Off the rip. It would have been a 10-minute movie. Immediately. Yeah, I mean, Jack Burns.
So, are we leaning Peter here?
I mean, you can't
kind of lean in Peter.
You can't leave your kid in another state twice, right? One of them was on Christmas.
Well, and
both of them on Christmas.
Were they both on
left
Christmas?
well
went to
before
Christmas in Paris when he was
they
at
left
home.
well before Christmas. It wasn't on Christmas,
but it was a Christmas
for
trip.
A Christmas trip.
It was for a Christmas trip. The second one, they went to Miami.
If it was once,
he got on the wrong plane and went to New York.
That's right.
If it was once, I might be with it, just because, fool me once. But
sure,
if you forgot your son,
can't,
and then your house was broken into,
Yeah.
and your son was almost murdered by
Right.
two, what were they, the sticky bandits or the wet bandits?
The wet
or-
bandits.
They were the wet
and then
bandits
they
the
were
first movie. Sticky
sticky
bandits.
bandits.
Yep.
Your
Yeah.
son is almost murdered. You know, like you would think that child is going to be overparented for the rest of his life.
Peter McAllister
You're
should
gonna
have
be
turned
forever
into
trying-
Jack Burns.
Exactly.
That's what should have happened.
That moment should
There-
have been an awakening
that
moment.
would be justified.
Yeah, I think
and
I
the
think-
fact that he moves on and just leaves him in an airport a second time.
whatever. Should we double check? Nah, it's fine. He's probably here. Yeah, yeah. Peter McAllister here is the advance.
It's not just that they've woken up late for both trips. That's what caused all
Yeah.
of this.
Dude.
So to say,
Oh
oh
my
well, he was
gosh.
distracted because he was doing the battery and the kid wandered away, and well, they were rushing. Well, why were they rushing? Because they don't know how to properly set alarms.
Right. They don't know how things work. They shouldn't have kids. It's
Right.
yeah.
So,
It's
okay.
it's,
Peter McAllister, it is.
Yeah.
Peter McAllister.
All right. I think we're getting
All
into
right,
some
first matchup
heavy hitters
are-
here now.
First matchup, our Southeast Conference.
Mm.
We've got Stannis Baratheon
Mm.
versus
Mm.
Tywin Lannister.
We've got the winner of the bracket.
All right. For you people who didn't watch Game of Thrones, Stannis
This is
Baratheon.
an entirely Game of Thrones matchup.
This is
GOT versus
Yep.
GOT.
and it needed to be because these two are this is like a 1-versus-1 right here. Game of Thrones, only one daughter. He kept that one daughter in a dungeon, and then later on sacrificed her at the stake for a battle to win, which he immediately lost. I think the next episode,
Burning
or-
her at an altar. Burning her. Didn't
Yeah.
just sacrifice her at a stake. He
Right.
burned her at an altar.
Yep.
Wow.
And then Tywin Lannister, of course, Game of Thrones, 2 sons, 1 daughter, blamed the death of his wife on his son during the birth, and helped create
Well-
Cersei Lannister, which is
Odd
That's-
speculation. Is what is it? Tyrion? Is Tyrion his son?
is that up for speculation?
It's up for speculation.
I mean,
There's a lot of
everybody-
rumors. There's a lot of
Yeah,
rumors.
I don't
There
think
is
that's
a
the intention
the
for there to be
I think it
rumors.
was
That
either the Mad King or one of the
Oh,
one of the other families had a thing for the Lannister wife, and
okay.
that's why Tyrion was able to touch the dragon later on in one of the final seasons, is because he's actually not a Lannister.
Oh, okay, maybe that's an interesting theory, and it's hard to tell in that show. Everybody's doing everybody, so you
Well,
can't
you
really.
know.
You can
Again,
never
he was
really
he was
be sure.
adopted and raised as if he was a son, though. This is
Right,
Sure.
right.
This is same as Thanos.
Okay, man, I want to make a case for Tywin. I think there's a good case for Tywin, right?
But I mean, I guess a lot of what he does for his family's legacy. He's trying
but
to
this-
keep the Lannister
Say that again, though.
name
For who?
for his family,
For his family's legacy.
for his legacy.
Not
Well,
necessarily
his
his-
legacy is his family.
Yeah,
For the next
It's his
generation
legacy,
of
though.
Lannister.
But it's not so much-
It's the next generations.
but it's not so much what happens to his family; it's what the perception of his family is. That's what he cares about, right?
True.
Like he
Well,
doesn't really
he wants
care.
to keep his family in power. He wants to keep the money. Remember,
Yeah.
they funded
Oh yeah,
the overthrow. They were the bank that paid for everything going on. His goal was
Right.
power.
Yeah.
One could argue for his family.
yeah. It's tough to tell if he cares about his family or, like you said,
It's certainly a whole
The
lot different
legacy.
than Stannis.
yeah, absolutely.
Stannis didn't care about his legacy.
No,
because
he did.
Burned
Yeah,
his only child.
right. It's yeah. Yeah. He doesn't.
I'll
Yeah,
give you a little hint right there.
didn't care about that. Yeah. And I
Although,
go ahead.
didn't she have that disease?
Yeah, she
Like,
had
she
the
was turning into a stone.
grayscale, right?
Right. So she
Yeah.
was gonna die anyways. So he put her out of her misery.
So sweet of him. What a good dad. He should have been on last year's bracket. Put her out of her misery.
Thoughtful.
Man,
So where are we going with this vote?
I
I think we all know.
boy, I just Tywin Lannister is a piece of crap, but I don't know how he burned his daughter alive. I don't know what to do.
Oh, it's Stannis all the way.
Yeah, it's Stannis. He's got the that's the card right there. It's gonna be tough moving forward. It's gonna be tough. All right, Stannis moving forward. Ryan,
All right.
Ryan, do you want to make a pitch the other way?
Yeah,
Or
do
is
you
that
want
what
to?
you're implying?
I mean,
No,
we have two votes
no.
for two votes for Stannis, but do you want to make an argument?
I think the answer is Stannis, but I would argue that I'm keeping my arguments consistent because I'm talking about being a bad dad.
This is the
not being a
common
bad
dad,
guy.
not the smart dad. Knock that crap
all
off.
right.
The
Yeah.
So I will refrain
All right.
from commenting further. The last matchup
In
in our bracket in the Southeast Conference, we have Jack Torrance, The Shining, versus Lucius Malfoy.
All right. Jack Torrance, The Shining, one son, crappy writer, and tried to murder his family. Lucius Malfoy, Harry Potter, one son, who's also a piece of garbage, was mean to Dobby, which, and follows a
That's
guy
a house
called.
servant, though. That's not a.
You heard it
It
here
has
first,
nothing
folks.
to do with his parenting
Ryan,
style.
but it's just a fun fact. He's a piece of
He's
crap.
a bad
And
guy.
also decided
Not
to
a bad
follow
dad.
somebody called the Dark Lord and thought, yeah, this will work out.
Dark Lord or
This will
Voldemort?
be
Whose
fine.
name couldn't even be
Are you just
mentioned by
refusing
anybody
to
else.
say his name?
No, not at all. But that's just that was his nickname, and he was like, "Yeah, that's the guy that I want to." What could go wrong? It's fine. Man, I haven't watched The Shining in a long time.
Yeah, I'm not up to date on my facts on that
I'm
one.
pretty sure he was a raging alcoholic. Correct, Ryan? You're 90. Can you concur?
No, this movie was actually before my time, even.
No, 1920. That's not... All right. Well, we know he was a bad writer. We know he tried to murder his whole family. There's not a lot more you need to know about that. Lucius Malfoy, on the other hand, this goes to your whole argument here, Ryan. Jack Torrance kind of had the one bad weekend, you could say, but Lucius Malfoy feels like a turd through and through.
Yeah, but look at how he
Bad
treated
guy.
his son.
Not a bad dad.
He propped his son up every step of
Did
the
everything
way.
he could.
But isn't part of being
took
a
him under his wing.
good dad being a good guy?
But
There's got to be a little
in
correlation.
his vision, he was making the right choice. They viewed wizards and those with direct descendant blood, whatever.
What do they call
as
mudbloods?
Very Thanos.
Essentially
very
is the-
Thanos-like.
Yeah, I mean, well, no,
No.
Well,
very
Thanos
Nazi-like. They viewed those with
Nazi-like, yeah,
wizard
that might
blood
be-
as
Magneto-like.
superior.
Oh, there you go.
Magneto,
Yeah,
that might be better.
Magneto.
Very,
Yeah,
very Magneto.
they like to say superior race a lot, which is a
They-
quick
they
red
were
card there.
superior, and that everybody that didn't have wizarding blood was a mud blood. They were dirty blooded.
Mudblood.
They did not have that ability.
That's not a phrase that gets thrown around a lot in
It's-
regular. I want to call somebody a mudblood.
No, not
I think that'd
usually.
be fun.
But what he did as a parent was to
Yeah.
reinforce their principles and to try and protect his son under those principles.
It's true. He
Just
wasn't-
because we have a different viewpoint doesn't make him a bad dad.
he kind of
Trying
created.
to murder your family,
yeah.
that's a little bit different.
He got lost in a maze and
this-
froze to
this-
death. What an idiot.
Magneto Dr. Evil is more
Freaking
maybe more
loser.
the correlation here. Magneto lost it because he was a bad guy, not a bad dad.
Right.
Dr. Evil was a bad dad.
Right.
Yeah.
Jack Torrance was a bad dad.
Jack
All right.
Torrance was a bad dad.
Lucius
Yeah.
Lucius
Malfoy
Malfoy was a bad
guy.
guy.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I'd say we go Jack on this
Go
one.
Jack. Okay.
Which stinks because I don't really know all that much about him.
Yeah. It just.
So I'm not going to be able to argue for him in the next
Well, I don't
round.
think he's winning the next round.
No. Yeah. I think
Probably not
I
up
th-
against Stannis.
we had some good matchups that first round. What is what's our next matchup here?
So to take the Northwest here to reach the quarterfinals,
Regionals, or
we've got
quarterfinals.
Wormwood. Well, this is to get into the quarterfinals.
Okay.
We've got Wormwood, Harry Wormwood versus Peter Griffin,
So that's Matilda versus
Family,
Family
Guy.
Guy.
I'm trying to think. Does Peter ever do anything out of love?
Does Wormwood?
I don't know. I don't know. I just know that if that's true about both of them,
it's tough because one's
Peter also
a cartoon,
yeah,
and
sure.
so it doesn't try to base itself in a form of reality, and
Yeah.
one is somewhat based in reality. Granted, it's not real, but
I'm going to go with Peter Griffin just from the sheer catalog and portfolio of pure debauchery. He's got season after
It's
season of being just a
It is
pure.
difficult because you got one movie versus how many seasons of
You're right.
Family Guy.
You're
yeah,
right.
well, I think
So it's
there's
It's still going.
there's the content side, but I think as far as being a bad dad, think of all the things Stewie has done and the times Stewie has been completely alone. I mean, isn't there an entire movie where Stewie gets in an RV and drives across America on his own?
Full-blown
On his
episodes and
own.
movies. Yeah.
So
there's
as a
not a lot.
dad, that's, I mean, at least Wormwood like kept his kids kind of in the house and had an eye on them.
Yeah.
He may
The
have been a
bare
crap
minimum.
person,
The bare
but,
minimum. Yeah.
but Peter doesn't
Well-
even watch Stewie. He lets the dog watch the infant.
Literally lets the
I-
dog watch.
There-
Yeah.
that's
a good
actually
point.
That's actually not entirely true. Wormwood does not actually ever keep an eye on his daughter. He goes off to the car dealership. His wife goes to get her nails done. If you recall, she would walk herself from the time she was 2
Yeah.
years old to the library. and
2
spend all
years
day in the
old.
library. She would pull the wagon. She
was a
eventually
smart
learned that she
one.
could check out books, and she would bring them home.
I don't
and
like remember
even
what
to the
2-year-olds
point
can
that
do.
FBI agents were investigating him for stolen car parts, and she was home alone with
I need
two
to watch this
FBI
movie
agents
again.
investigating the house.
It's awesome.
So no, she was absolutely left home alone frequently. She had to make breakfast.
She
for
didn't get
them.
in an RV
She'd
and
make
tour
breakfast for
America.
herself. She didn't. But she was left. She was left alone at an equivalent age or similar age to Stewie Griffin,
I don't know.
based in
Stewie
reality, not even a cartoon.
Ryan, you make a really good
At
point.
the very least, Stewie has a dog.
I can tell your wife's a lawyer because
That
that's a
dog
really
is a
good
piece
point.
of crap too, though.
Yeah, he's a piece of garbage.
Constantly, constantly trying to
That
get
being
laid.
said,
The whole family's a wreck.
Stewie's not necessarily entirely alone. Matilda is completely alone with a stove on, making pancakes and walking in public to a public library.
She's magic.
by
She's
herself.
fine. She's got it handled.
She didn't figure that out though till she was in first grade.
Her
All right,
dad
Peter,
knew.
I vote Peter
That's
Griffin.
Peter.
Peter Griffin
It's
takes
Peter.
it.
Peter. That's a good point, though,
You
Ryan.
guys are terrible.
Good points. Not as terrible as Peter Griffin. All right, next matchup.
Thanos, Dr. Evil, to hit the quarterfinals in the Southwest bracket.
Thanos and Dr.
Boy.
Evil.
I
I
kind
don't
of
feel
feel
like that one's that difficult.
I don't know. I feel like Dr.
I
Evil
know
might
who
have
the
an
final
upset
two are
here.
going to be, so it's not that difficult.
I like Dr. Evil in this one. But I don't think Thanos should have gotten out of the first round.
Right.
Again, not
Yeah, you didn't.
bad
yeah,
guy.
If you remember back to season 1, Ryan was always wrong. So
That's true.
Bad guy, not bad dad.
not
Remember, I
wrong.
voted for Phil Banks. Just saying.
Well, that was the easiest thing. Man, Dr. Evil, Thanos. I'm going Dr. Evil.
Really?
He was such a bad dad. There's
Thanos.
there's a scene where Austin Powers grabs Scott, puts a gun to his
Isn't
head.
Thanos? Who's the other daughter? What's her name? The
No, not
mechanical one.
Gamora and crap.
Isn't he constantly stealing her body parts and replacing them with machine parts
Yeah,
in an effort to gain more control over her and use her as a killing machine rather than as a child?
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong.
I don't think he steals the body parts. I think as she gets injured, he keeps her alive by replacing the body parts. A la Robocop.
I thought there
to
was
keep
some
him alive.
deliberate parts of that because
don't
at
think
one
there were-
point doesn't she kind of like get not
Yeah,
blown up
In
but, like,
Avengers,
expanded?
he like
And then
separates
but
her.
then
That sounds
Gamora tries to
not
take
what
a
it is.
piece out that's like a control piece so that she can finally be free of his control.
Yes, you're right.
She removes a microchip. I don't know,
He
something
does.
from within
He does
her.
torture her. He
He
does
tortures her in an effort to gain control
The
and
vote's
use her
in.
as a
The
tool.
vote's in.
The
He
vote has
already
changed.
said-
It's Thanos. That's a
Ooh.
great point. That is a great point. He does torture her. That's a
right
good
before
point.
chucking his daughter off of a cliff in an effort to gain a rock,
It's
a
like when
gemstone, so that
you're
he
right.
can
Not
use that
even a
gemstone to
daughter.
kill
Man.
half of the universe.
That's a good point. Ryan, argue your points better. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at yourself. You did that.
Thanos shouldn't have gotten out of the first round.
well, he's into the regional
Now he's-
finals or whatever. Final four.
Semifinals.
Whatever.
Fletcher versus Peter McAllister. Fletcher Reed, Peter McAllister. Home Alone, Liar, Liar. 2 movies.
So neglect versus neglect. Who neglected their child worse?
Intentional versus stupidity.
Good point. I'm going with Fletcher because it was intentional. Not necessarily intentional, but hey, I'll be there. I'm not there. I mean,
Okay,
at least
but through the process of the movie, by the end of the movie, does he redeem himself in any way?
Fletcher.
Ask yourself, does he redeem himself in
Yeah.
any way? Does McAllister?
Mm.
There are 3 Home Alone
Drew
movies,
with the
2
points
specifically with
tonight.
McAllister. In the 2 movies that feature McAllister, does he redeem himself in any way? Is there any apology? Is there any redemption? Versus Fletcher.
Buzz grows more than Dad.
Fletcher doesn't. Fletcher grows.
No,
Like he actually hijacks a plane in an effort to stop and save his family.
Yeah,
If
he's
you
on the
paid for a
no-fly
trip
list.
let me ask you this, Justin. If you paid for a trip to Paris and you left
Oh, I'm going to
you
Paris.
left Esther at
You
home,
have my attention. Yes.
and Esther decided to go back, would you tell Esther, hey, grab him and come back? Or would you pick up the whole family, cut the vacation short, and head home?
I'm doing everything I possibly can. I'm throwing all resources at getting back home.
Right. So
in the movie,
divide
is
and
there some
conquer.
stupid reason? Now, I will say in his
that was his purpose, divide and conquer. I'm going to take the short flight that I know I can get. You see if you can get a better flight. That way we don't give up this and we end up staying on our whole vacation. We'll divide and conquer. We'll pack up everybody. We'll get back home. He ends up getting there at the same time. I mean, he's literally 3 minutes after she walks in the door.
Dealing with something is not the same as being as redeeming yourself.
I feel like he didn't.
Solving doesn't mean that you've become better.
I feel like he didn't panic enough, right?
Fletcher Reed didn't problem solve anything. He was forced to do something because of his son.
But he became a better person through the process.
That never would have changed.
But it was.
It wasn't
he
his
became
choice.
a better person through the process.
No, it was never his choice to become a better person.
Such a better movie too. I'm trying to take my love for Jim Carrey and put it away. I have unpaid parking tickets. I am going. Drew, you're nobody's casted a vote yet, I don't think. But
well, you did. No,
you came out and said Fletcher. That was your first.
Yeah,
and then I presented some arguments. So where are you at, Justin?
I don't know. I'm in my basement. Jeez. All right. I'm just gonna go off pure feeling at this point because it's so close. I feel like Fletcher Reed is the worst father.
No, wrong.
I concur.
Okay.
I already had Fletcher
that's just my gut. It just feels.
Boom, Fletch.
It just feels worse. He says some bad things in there. All right. What's our next matchup, Brian?
He redeems himself.
This is going to be another matchup, historically versus modern bad dads, historic bad dads. Jack Torrance, Stannis Baratheon.
It's Stannis. It's Stannis.
But
Done,
it's Stannis.
Jack Torrance isn't good enough to murder his family. Stannis pulled it off.
There you go.
Just saying.
All right, interested to see these two losers. Which one you guys are going to choose to make the semifinals here?
Okay.
We got Peter Griffin versus Thanos. Neither one deserving of the quarterfinals.
Jeez.
It's
but
Thanos.
Here we are anyways.
Jeez. Again.
It's Thanos versus Stannis. I mean, we're already to the final.
It probably is.
I mean,
yeah. I mean,
present any
you guys
arguments
just
for
made
a different
such a compelling
bracket.
argument for Peter Griffin. He tortures his kids in various ways as well.
but he never kills
Yeah, he doesn't
one.
chuck them off a cliff.
He doesn't. He never kills one.
Let alone half the
that
planet.
we know of.
Well, there's probably something in the comics. Or no, Peter. Yeah,
Comics?
no, it's Thanos. It's Thanos. It's Thanos. It's Thanos. I appreciate you trying to make it interesting, Ryan. I really
have
do.
a feeling
Fletcher
this
versus
podcast
no,
has
I don't
gone
think
on
either
too
one
long.
should be there. I think we should have had Wormwood versus Dr. Evil. But you'll find out in the comments.
Okay. Yeah, we will. We will.
Fletcher versus Stannis.
Stannis.
Yeah. I mean, Fletcher made a good run. He's a nice little Loyola Marymount little run there. Yes, Stannis all day long.
And Stannis versus Thanos in our final.
Both child killers. They both
See, I
did
think
it.
Lucius would have been a better person to make it all the way.
Who?
Malfoy.
No.
Okay. He was a piece of crap.
Literally
All right,
serves the Dark Lord and tries to torture people.
Yeah. All right.
But didn't kill anybody.
Tries to kill Harry in the first
Tries to,
movie
fails.
or second movie. He tries
Fails. If he was any
Same
better,
as
he
Jack. Tries and fails.
So all right, so they both killed one of their daughters, one the only, in a sacrifice for the greater good in their mind, right? I'm saying it wasn't right, obviously, but in their
Stannis
mind,
didn't
It's
do
his
it for the
actual
greater
daughter.
good. Stannis did it to gain power for himself.
Well, and
Stannis
it
wasn't
was his
thinking the
actual
world
daughter.
will be a better place if I kill my daughter.
Thanos again, these are not actual children. Thanos has no actual kids. Thanos is not an actual
These
father.
are kidnaps. I kidnapped these 3 kids and I just called them.
That's the other thing here.
But Ryan
Thanos
makes a
is
good
not an
point.
actual dad
But
any more than Magneto is over all the other rebellious
Right.
people.
But
that he
you
took
made
under his wing.
back to your
and
last point,
acted
Ryan.
as their father, but he
Who-
wasn't their father.
Who loved their kids more?
Yeah, I think you're losing this argument, buddy. If that's all you got.
I would say
you made the argument the whole way to
I would
this
say
point that
Thanos
killed his own
loved
daughter.
his daughter more, thus killing her, making it worse.
Stannis killed his own daughter, but Stannis killed his daughter.
You're saying
in order
Stannis,
to
and that's
save-
the worst dad. This is a combination of the two.
Well, you know,
Stannis Baratheon with the Infinity Gauntlet, just
there you go.
smoking
Merge.
the whole Game of Thrones crew.
I need more alcohol. That'll help.
Absolutely.
No,
I'm trying.
Thanos kills his daughter in an effort to what he believes the universe is going to implode on itself due to population. So in an effort to save all of humanity,
So wait a second. Now
humanity,
your
all of the
argument is
world.
good intentions?
Well,
It's
no.
gooder. Gooder.
It's for you have to manipulate the arguments to meet the matchup.
No,
It's,
you
it's
don't.
not as
You keep
black
the
and
same
white.
arguments
It's
the whole
not,
time. It's the
no,
same
it's not
dad.
as black and white as that. It's not as
Or
black
lack
and white
of a
as that.
dad.
It's a
Thanos
podcast.
doesn't
You're
even
too
have
old.
actual
You're too
children.
old. Are you in a retirement home yet? How's the AARP card going?
Oh, God.
Thanos is trying
too.
to save the entire world. Stannis kills his daughter for his own gain.
That's true.
There is no purpose. There is no function. There is no greater purpose.
It's just
It
to be
is
king.
literally for himself.
Well, that's
I
what I'm
want
saying.
to kill
I've
her
been saying Stannis is
so
the worst
I
dad.
can be.
Oh, are we all arguing the same point?
yeah.
I'm saying Stannis is the worst dad because Thanos didn't even
Thanos is
actually
a
have any
crap
children.
dad.
Oh, I'm arguing for Thanos. You guys are, man, I'm dumb.
You're thinking Thanos
Well,
is the worst?
No, Thanos is
I
not
was
worse.
saying there was an
Stannis
argument,
is
but it's
worse.
all right. Stannis is the winner. Stannis is the winner. Yeah,
Stannis
I mean,
is the winner.
all
Thanos
right.
isn't actually even a dad. He doesn't even deserve to be here.
It was forced adoption, like you said.
Yeah, but if
But
you get
he is-
into
he is
adopted
a
kids,
father
then that opens up
figure.
a whole bunch of then you got to revisit Magneto because how was he to all the other people he was a father figure for?
I don't
You heard it
disagree,
here.
but
You heard
but
it here.
Magneto lost
Ryan
in
doesn't
his
think
bracket.
adopted children are real children. That's what I heard you say. That's what I heard you say. Leave a comment
I don't
for
think
Ryan.
I don't think killing somebody's parents and then forcing their kids, raising their kids as their
If
own.
you think Ryan
your
is the
own.
worst dad, leave 5-star review.
That's right. Okay. Well,
Bring
that's it. So Uncle
Bring it
Phil,
on.
Uncle Phil, the best, and Stannis is
Stannis
the
Baratheon
worst.
is our worst dad champion.
Absolutely. Well,
Not worst person, just worst dad.
we are finally back. We hope we made all you dads out there on Father's Day feel a little bit better by talking about all these pieces of crap. So you're not worse than them.
If any of you have burned your child at the stake, please, please
Report yourself to the
call
authorities.
us.
Please don't.
Do
I'm
not
gonna start there.
Nobody wants to hear from you.
We are
But
not.
you could like and leave a 5-star rating. Just don't comment.
Correct, yeah. Or do it. Doesn't matter. Don't care. 5-star comments. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook. We're all at The Common Dad. And of course, our new channel on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us at The Common Dad Podcast on YouTube. And you can see our ugly faces. Now you don't just have to listen to them. You get to actually see them. Gentlemen, it is good to be back. We will see you guys next week. And thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of The Common Dad Podcast. Let us know if you liked the video by giving us a thumbs up. Even if you didn't, give it a thumbs up anyway. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell to get notifications every time we post a new video. Also, do not forget to follow us on Instagram at _common_dad and on Facebook at The Common Dad so you can let us know your thoughts on today's episode.